Hey, Magic fans, it's that time. The time has come to talk about Commander Masters. The set's out, we know the cards. Is it worth the outrageous price that they have put on these cards? So, with that said, we're going to take a look at it, and I'm going to give you my completely irrelevant view. But by God, it may be entertaining, at least to me. Don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, keeps the channel sponsor free, and now let's roll it. We got 10 minutes, let's make it quick. And it won't be. So we're going to start off with packs of the cards. Now we're going to leave collector boosters out of this equation because that's a whole nother monster. I personally like collector boosters for several reasons. This is a format that's targeting somebody who wants one of a card, so there's no need to buy massive number of boxes. So one collector box can get you most of what you need, or trade bait to get what you need. Plus, they have all the alternate art and special treatment stuff that people want to bleed their decks out with. So it's also just as cheap as Double Masters, and that was just fine too. So, however, we have set and draft boosters that are going for an average pack price of $15 for draft, $19 for a set booster box, or $20. Now that's really high. So the key is this product worth what these pack prices are suggesting? So as you guys know, this product is going for mid 300s to 400s, depending if it's a set or a draft. Don't forget, there's only 24 packs, I believe, in these set boxes, or I'm sorry, in these set and or draft boxes. So you're not getting 36. So you may think to yourself, wow, that price is kind of high. That does add up to 300 or 400, yada, yada, yada. No, it doesn't. You're actually getting less packs inside your box. So, for example, here, the set box, let me look it up real quick for you, contains 24 set boosters. That is it. So 24 times 18. So basically, 20 times 20, that's your 400. That's where the prices come from. So you're not getting a deal. Draft boxes, I think, are actually the same size. Yes, they are also 24. So again, 15 times 20 twice is 300, plus another 4 for 90 is 400. You're not getting a deal. So before you start there, let's just put a kibosh to that. Now, moving on to what's in the pack. So here is a snippet from the set boosters. You can see down here, multiple rares and foil in every pack. This is set. Draft has a similar setup. Let's talk about set for right now. So you get 2 to 6 cards rarity, rare or higher. So let's say, worst case scenario, you're going to get 2 rares, okay, and 1 foil. That's pretty good for a $15 pack, or this is a $20 pack. And you could get more rares. So technically, you're paying a higher price for more rares minus the commons. And maybe you're into that. Whatever the case may be. You do you. Right? But yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't like this, even though the box is so high, is what this is going to do is this is going to flood the market with so many cards that is going to drive the price down on cards and singles more than it normally would. In an environment where someone only wants one of something. Other cards are played in environments where a 4-of for a deck is needed. This is an environment with Commander Masters we don't need a 4-of. And maybe some Eternal formats may pick up a couple of these cards, but I doubt it because these are all just reprints. They don't need 4-ofs. So, and most of those people already have those cards. The cards people are buying now are cards to go with their decks that are not in Commander Masters. So think about that for a second. Which is driving up other card prices, which is a different video. But anyway. So, inside a regular pack of draft, you get 2 to 4 rares of at least 1 rare or mythic legendary value or higher. Or 2 to 4 rares, 2 to 4 cards of rare or higher. Again, flooding the market with cards. With more cards in less packs. And you may think, well, that sounds great for me. I don't like paying high prices for Magic cards. Fair. Very fair. But let me ask you this question. to go along with your answer. How many times have you went to a shop and been pissed by how much they offered you for a card that you know is worth money? Exactly. So let's be honest here. I've been in that I was in that boat when I was younger and when I first got into the game until I understood how it all worked. People still to this day is still mad about it. You take your $50 card in, they want to give you $20. You don't understand why that's not right. You get pissed. You don't want to sell. Yada yada yada. You're like, well, I'll just hold on to it and sell it later when it's worth more money. Printings like this is going to make that card never worth that kind of money again. Especially now, since most Magic shops and because of how this printing is going, people are not paying money on trade-in for Magic cards. You're only giving store credit. So all you can do is get more Magic cards for your Magic cards that are going down because they're reprinting the same Magic cards. So we can answer questions about that later. See me in the back of the room. Anyway, so with all that said, how does this affect the game and why is it bad? So reprint equity, we talked about in the previous video, is where you can reprint a card because it's so valuable that the reprint, even though will be detriment to the secondary market and card prices, it's still a valuable enough card that you can charge high dollar value for packs to get people to chase that card because we know it's already worth money and people will buy it. But what do you do when you place a card or reprint a card so many times that when you do place it into a pack and you're like, well, this card's clearly worth money, it's been selling boxes forever, it was a $60 card, it's still a $40 card, and eventually you come to a point where that $60, $40, $100 card becomes $20 if you're lucky in the original version and $5 to $10 in a reprint version. You're going to be at a point where a $15 to $20 pack is not worth the $5 to $10 card that you've put in it. And you can't just keep jacking prices up and expect people to just eat it. So, examples. Let's look at some actual cards and how we've never done this on the channel before, so bear with me. But here are some examples of what I think you guys should understand about reprint equity and what happens when a reprint really occurs. So, first thing we'll talk about is the Dragon. The Dragon is kind of a special scenario. It's on the lower end of impact, but there's still the impact, and that's what I want you guys to see. The Dragon was in Commander's 2017 and never saw a reprint except for, I think, a secret layer. On the announcement of Commander Masters, look at this. This card it was only foil, got up to the close to $70 range. I'm gonna guess. You can't really see there. Probably 68. Right now, a lightly played foil is 58, but as you can see, it has dipped way down into this price range. And as you can see, light played foils of the original card is selling for $40. So let's say the card let's say it's 65, which is being polite because it was higher than that. To get to $40, that's a $20 decrease. So that's 10% of 65 is $6.50. 20% is $13. 30% gets you close to $20. So 30% decrease in a card that only has had one printing in Commander Masters, which is not a product that you just open boxes for. It's a sealed product as a bundle, and a secret layer, which you had a limited amount of time to buy. Still sees a 30% decrease in its price. That is insane. And this is just the old card. If we look at the new card, which is coming out in Commander Masters, and we're talking about the regular card, they started trying to sell it for $50. When people didn't want to buy it, immediately plummets to $40. This is the unfoil version for the same price. You can get the old version of the original card. Does it matter? Who knows? It depends on how you feel about it. But if the old card is the same as the new card, most people would prefer the old card because it is foil, and the foil here is $55. So why not just get the old card that is foil, and maybe it's light play, for the same price as the new card and cheaper than the new foil? So you can do the math on that all you want, but that's what people actually think. So that means that this price is going to have to drop another considerable 20 to 30%, around $20, $25, to make it even feasible for people to want to get this card. And that's if everybody who already wants it doesn't have it once this floods the market and causes even more dip. Now, let's move on to a card that's seen a little more action in its time. Smothering Tide, or the Big Titties. Uh, you can see here, this card was around $26. The old version was bumped up close to $30. It has now retracted down to $19.95. Basically $20 is where it's kind of settling. And again, if you look at this, if it was close to 30, and we'll be nice, we'll say it was 25, to get to $20, that's still a 25% decrease in the original card. If you look at the newer card started at $17.74 and has plummeted down, or started at $18, plummeted down to $17.74, where people are now picking it up because there's not really a difference here, and there's several printings of it. This card will probably see another 20% decrease, if not 30%, which means it'll be down to $15 or $10, in my opinion, by the time this is all said and done. And if that's what you want, that's great. But what if you had some of the cool older cards that are taking this 30-40% dip because of these constant reprints? It now becomes that this game is not longer collectible. It's just a game. And if it's just a game and not collectible, what is the point if you're looking for something that you can play and get money back? Well, there isn't one. And that's what people are starting to leave the Magic market for. So, moving on. Next we have the Great Hinge. Had several reprints, but just here recently, the original one, as you could see, started out around 60. It went up a little bit, but has steadily plummeted in the last couple months from $60 down to $50. That's a 15% decrease. Now, there's been lots of other printings as well that are very popular in alternate art and what have you, but this is the original for $50. If you look at the newer one started out around 44 and has plummeted to 40. And the last time it was bought was on the 17th, which was 5 days ago. No one has bought one since at 43, and the price has dropped for almost $4. It's almost dropped 10% in 5 days, and no one's still buying it, which means this is going to drop another 20 to 30%, in my opinion, and be probably another $20 card at best once it starts to flood the market if this product gets opened, like I think it will, or Wizards wants it to. And the only reason I say Wizards wants it to is because obviously if someone's opening a box, they had to pay for it, so they get their money. They don't give a damn. All right, moving on. Next, we have the Capture of Xingzhou Portal 3 Kingdoms. This is the time walk of all time walks. As you can see, it's close to $400. It has now dropped to $313. The last buying of this was on 7/12. The only reason this card is this pricey is Portal 3 Kingdoms had a very limited print run, and there's not very many around. It's hard to find this card. It's rarity, and it's a time walk. That really gives this the value. If you look at the current card, you would think, well, that means the current card's easily $200, right? No, not even close. They've listed this card at $52 is where it's currently listed at. Now, I want you to notice down here, I did cut it off. There has been one purchase of this card since it's been listed on 7/19 for $51, and no one has bought one since. So this tells me this is going to lose a good amount of money. I mean, if you look over here, this went from 400 to 313. Again, easily 25 to 30% loss. If this takes another 25 to 30% loss, it's going to be down in the 30s. And to be fair, I don't think it's even worth that much now. I'm not as excited to see this, other than the fact it's just an extra time walk now that someone's going to throw in their deck. So, yay for everybody who likes time walk decks. So, this is kind of in the Ur-Dragon scenario, but actually this is more rare than the Ur-Dragon, and as you see, the price difference is insane, which is the difference between collectability and just reprinting cards over and over again. So as we move on, the next one we'll talk about, Double A Seizing. Big card, lots of reprints, all the decks use it, and is big in Commander. Here's all the cards that are listed. I just wanted you to see them all. You can see Doubling Season has been taking a big hit. Market price hasn't caught up yet because nobody's buying it. The old market price was $83, now it's $50, $60. This reprint, $78, now $64. This one lost $6. This one lost 10%, lost 20%. This one lost 30%. This one lost 10%. And this one's starting at $60.50. And it's a mythic. This one lost 10 to 20%. It's a judge foil. So a lot to take in here and wrap your head around. If you look at this here, you can see where this used to be 90. Now it is $66 in light play. And people are buying these because why, if you're going to spend $60 for a new one, why not spend an extra $6 for an old one and have some history and, in my opinion, probably better art in most cases. No offense to the guys who draw the new ones, but these don't make them like they used to sometimes. And there you have it. Like, obviously the foil hasn't really been affected because it's hard to get these older foils. We all know that. And newer foils, because they're easier to get, will actually be cheaper because of how they jacked up how often and easy they show up in newer products. For example, here's Double League Season here. Started out at 63, plummets. Again, the last one bought for $63 on the 19th, 5 days ago, has not been touched and is now 60. Again, for $6 more, you can get an original, and why wouldn't you? And you can see people are. So this new product may not have resale value on the secondary market like people think it will, unless these prices come down a lot and even more. And I mean, like I said before, 20 to 30%. This is easily going to be a $35 to $40 card if we're lucky. It will be that high. I don't think we're going to be that lucky. I hate to say that. But at the end of the day, this is the effect that we have from massive reprints and reprint equity in a game that's supposed to be collectible. You can't have a game targeted as a collectible game and then have game pieces that are not collectible. Now, there's alternate art and this, that, and the other. But again, as we've seen, alternate art and stuff drive down the prices of everything else. There's alternate art for the doubling season, probably. Maybe there's not. And the other cards, the Dragon, there's alternate art. Those cards are going to be higher. I'll have a higher premium. Will be collectible, but they'll drive the price of everything else down because nobody will want the newer stuff, or maybe even the older stuff, as we've seen, because the newer cards are cooler, and those are where the collectability comes in. So we've switched from, hey, it was a collectible game, but now the only thing that's collectible is the newer stuff and not the older stuff, which is a bad place to be in for Wizards of the Coast if they really want to keep selling their product, because they're going to lose all their old time guys. And the new people who buy in will be able to buy the older cards at a cheaper price because everybody's going to cash out. Now, with all that said, let's take a minute and look at something else I just want you guys to get a hold of. So, this is Goldfish for Magic. If you look on here, you'll see the prices on here are much lower than what they were on the other one. Here, the Capture of Zanzu, $54. It has went down $34 since its release. Those are big numbers. That's almost a 50% decrease. That's higher than 20 or 30. Some of the other ones haven't took that much of a dip. But again, remember, this is weekly percentages. In a week, it lost $34. This one lost $37. Again, this was only valuable because it was in a printing that was low demand and there's not many out there. And if you look at this, a lot of these cards, whether it's rare or mythics, don't have that high of a price value, and a lot of the cards, week over week, value is plummeting, slow but steady. Some of them taking anywhere from 5 to 10% a week off, and we've still got a couple weeks before this is released, and when it releases, there's always a big hit to the prices. And there's a lot of these rares are $2 to $1 that used to be worth a decent amount of money. Let's see if we can find one. Soul Ring and Arcane Signet are always going to be a little something special, but they'll go down in price over time. Chromatic Lantern. You remember this used to be a $20, $30 card? Yeah, $3 if you're lucky. Scourge of the Throne. Used to be a $20 card. I remember because I used to sell them because I didn't play Commander at the time, and I was like, I don't really need this. I'm going to trade it for something better. And I was getting top dollar for this thing. Reliquary Tower. It used to be a $5 to $10 card just because it was hard to get a hold of. Now it's everywhere. Rankle, $3. Used to be higher than that. When it was in Standard, it was a beast and pretty high, I'm not going to lie. Gulta, Primal Hunger. This one's $4. It used to be a $5 to $10 card. Vandal Blast. You name it. There's all kinds of stuff in here that just don't see the price that they used to. Twilight Prophet, it's $6 in this set. This was a 20, 30, 40. I think it was $60 at one point when people found out how good this card could be. Azusa, Lost but Seeking. This used to be a mainstay in many decks. Now it's $6 in this set. I'm telling you right now, you get a regular Azusa from any other set, especially the last printing of it, like $2. Like, it's not even worth that much. And that's where we're going to have a lot of issues. So, with all that said, the last thing I want you guys to remember is, of all these cards, if you look here, the lowest priced card or lowest priced pack is $15. So you have to at least get an Neheb, which is $15, which that price ain't gonna hold because a new Neheb ain't worth that much. Or the older Neheb isn't worth that much. A Tooth and Nail, remember that was $40, $60? It's at $15. Anyway, Emerald Medallion, $16. Remember that used to be $20, $30 cards. Same with land tax. Anyhow, point being, from $15 and up, there's only about 44 cards that are worth 15 or more, meaning they're going to be worth the value of the pack. And think about this. If you tell me that, let's say you don't get any card worth $15. Let's say you get 2 or 3 rares every pack, and every pack has a $4 to $5 rare in it. So you just barely get your money back, or you're a little bit below, and every card's $4 to $5. Well, maybe that's okay. But what happens when you're paying the exact same price? You start hitting some of these cards, and they become prevalent, and you're like, oh, I just made $40 on this pack that cost me $18. That's sweet. Let me rebuy and get another pack and sell these cards. Well, the problem with that is once everybody realizes that and starts doing that, that means the price of the pack is either A, too low, or the price of these cards are B, too high. And as more packs get cracked, we know prices drop, and the real answer to that is the prices of the cards are too high. So I think that we're on our way to see a astonishing disruption in the market from this set, and also to see a lot of upset people and to see a market dip or crash with this product unlike that we've ever seen before. Kin to the likes of, Masters 25, which put stores out of business because of how bad it sold. That's my personal opinion. I hope you guys liked it. Feel free, let's duke it out in the comment section. But just be polite. I'm not going to put anything down there that's going to get anybody mad or butt hurt. Let's just be honest and have honest conversations. Because at the end of the day, whether or not how you feel or how I feel is right or wrong, the market as a whole and how they accept this product is going to be the end-all be-all regardless of what one individual wants. And as we know, an individual is smart, but a group of people are panicky, impatient, and have a mob mentality to just trash something. So take it for what it's worth. Thanks a lot for your time. I took 23, 25 minutes instead of 10. I really kind of got into it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the rant. But it was really just more for informational stuff. I do like the product. I like the cards. The only thing the reason I always give it such a downgrade is because of what it does to the market, what it does for collectability to a game that I love. And it would be different if this game wasn't a collectible game, but it's supposed to be a collectible game. That's why a lot of us play it. For example, I love Hero Quest. I still have the original Hero Quest board game. Yes, it was worth a lot of money because it was hard to find, but for me, it was nostalgia. I loved it. I wanted to collect it. They came out, they reprinted it. Now all the old sets of Hero Quest are worth almost nothing. For me, it's nostalgia, and that's great. But how would you feel if you bought one of those old Hero Quest sets? Because you wanted, you spent $50, it's worth $200, and you're like, yay, I'm going to sell this next year when the price goes up, and then all of a sudden your $50 is now worth $20, and there's no hope of it ever going back up. Is that still a game you want to put in your closet, or is it not? But again, that's not a collectible game, so that's kind of something you expected. For me, I'm glad they reprinted it because that means they made some extra expansions. Guess what? I bought the expansions. But I knew it wasn't a collectible game at the time. I think that's where this and other card games, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood, whatever, have to realize they can't operate off a model of we can just make it till we break it and everybody's going to be okay with it. Anyway, I'm going to stop. I'm getting out of hand. I'm going to keep going forever. So until next time, be kind. And I hope to see you across from the game table. Maybe at Gen Con. Wood wood.